I just sort of let the thumbnails happen.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay, do you think? I'll be here.
All right. What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler.
I'm Josh. What's up?
And I am here to let you know and you know that Tenet is no perfect movie, despite what most Christopher Nolan fanboys will tell you.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so the reason this video took so long to make is after seeing it the first time, I had very conflicting feelings, so I knew, like most Nolan movies, you have to see it twice to have like a concrete opinion about it. And then yesterday, I tried to review it by myself, but I kept chewing on my own words. But the words that I had gotten so clearly were of flaws that I had, not really just with the overall movie, but flaws with Nolan as a filmmaker in general. There is a rant on those flaws on my channel that you can feel free to dislike and disagree with me on.
You're just giving me
attention. You're giving me free internet
traffic. Give him all the attention. Subscribe.
Call me a douchebag or whatever.
What is it? Like, subscribe, press the bell for notifications? I don't know. Is that how it goes?
That's the official...
okay.
That's the official slogan of every YouTuber who believes in that sort of
Tell
thing.
me about this Tenet movie to viewers.
Okay, so Tenet is about a CIA agent codenamed the Protagonist, played by John David Washington, who is sent to infiltrate this organization known as Tenet, because they have information about a future nuclear apocalypse that will be created by this Russian baron played by Kenneth Branagh. And in order to get close to Branagh, Washington has to team up with this supposedly British operative played by Robert Pattinson and Branagh's own wife played by Elizabeth Debicki, because she has her reasons for wanting to steer clear of her husband. And I think, like most people, I was excited for this movie, even though I'm not as big of a Nolan fanboy as most people are.
Those people exist. Tell me.
Yeah.
Question. Kenneth Branagh, how's his Russian accent? Is it good? Is it bad? Like,
you know what? I was afraid of that going in because he played a Russian national who was a terrorist in Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, which he also directed, of all things.
Weird.
Yeah.
Direct that.
And not gonna lie, he was a much more fleshed out villain in Shadow Recruit, believe it or not. But his Russian accent was considerably better here. In fact, he's actually the quiet, soft-spoken villain, which I wasn't really expecting.
All right.
That line where he's just like, "How would you like to die?" That's the overall tone that he has throughout the majority of the film. He does have some screaming moments that feel a little awkward, but that's not the main reason those scenes were awkward. Christopher Nolan is a big fan of the PG-13 rating, and I think he's one of the few directors who people actually give him slack for.
I mean, what was Memento? Was that rated R?
Okay, maybe that one was rated R, but like as time has gone by, his movies have been remarkably safe in terms of violence and subject matter. And the big thing,
I would agree.
The big thing about Elizabeth Debicki's role in this movie, because she's the central character that has like the most fleshed out arc, the most fleshed out 3-act structure, it centers around domestic abuse and shit like that. And when they try to portray it, it's so poorly handled that it was a little accidentally comical. Like when he's hitting her, it cuts away from the hit.
It's like Charlie's Angels action. Oh, there's a punch. Cut!
Yeah, it really was that. And if anyone's asking us if we have to see it completely explicit to get the point across, you don't have to. But you can get a little bit of in between. You can show some stuff and not show others.
Could you just do a faraway wide and then show the action and have her turn her face or something like that?
Yeah, which they almost go there, but there's one scene where she manages to talk her way out of it. The great thing about Elizabeth Debicki is that she's not really a victim in this situation because the battle isn't over. She's constantly fighting. And when she meets Washington, this is her chance to really like break free and make a life for herself that made it really interesting. And that was actually something that the three central characters, Washington, Pattinson, and Debicki, really have in common over the course of this actual movie. They're trying to pave way a new life, not just for the world now that they have this information about a world apocalypse, but also just personal and professional things. The thing that Washington and Pattinson really have in common is that they both know too little or too much at the exact same time. And Washington has to basically learn information from other people and be 3 steps ahead of them. And that's what makes him such an interesting hero to root for over the course of this journey. As I said before, he doesn't have a name. He doesn't have a backstory. Whatever Washington came up with his own backstory, we don't know for sure what it is. But you can kind of guess little things about him because he has that Ethan Hunt personality where he believes in saving one life over a small group, and that saving one life despite failing the mission actually kind of rewards him in the end because now he has found an ally and he can come up with a new plan with new allies now that he's basically, it's really hard to describe. The one thing that doesn't change about him as a character is his moral compass, because he values human life more than anything, and that seems to be the main quality that makes him a good CIA operative. Even though he can get down and dirty, he will kill people if he has to. He will try his best to fight people off or potentially risk his own life for the sake of others, as you see at the very beginning of the movie where he does get captured during the opening mission.
I'm getting Mission Impossible 3 vibes. Am I correct in that?
There's some qualities to it. Because, like, the villain is an arms dealer who acquires this very secretive technology.
Oh, I was going to ask, why does he want to blow up the world?
It's kind of a simple but complicated reason, and I don't really want to spoil it for anybody.
Okay. You can tell me
I try to keep this as spoiler-free as I possibly can.
Okay.
So,
Reasons.
even though the characters don't really have fleshed-out backstories, they have identifiable goals. And I don't want to give away Pattinson's because his is a very huge reveal, but he has that similar quality where he does think 3 steps ahead of Washington, and that's kind of what gets them into conflict. But it's also Washington acknowledging that Pattinson is very smart and a very useful asset, despite the fact that he can be a little, not only impulsive, but a little too secretive about certain things.
How is Robert Pattinson's performance? Because he was very good in Good Time, and he's very unique and quirky in Lighthouse. How does it compare to some of his other indie performances?
His performance here is much more suave and charismatic.
Okay.
Because once in a while he has a deadpan sense of humor that actually works surprisingly well. That whole bit in the trailer where it's just like, you want to blow up a plane. Well, not from the air. Like, don't be so dramatic. He has lines like that are very quippy, but not in a over-the-top sense.
Oh, okay.
Like, this is the closest thing to a Christopher Nolan comic relief type of character. And even then, he's not really comic relief.
Okay, now, my other question is, the action in the trailer looked phenomenal. How is it in the movie theater on the big screen with the reverse trucks and the things?
Okay, so the time inversion sequences, because without spoiling why, there are moments where characters and objects and time can move forwards and backwards at the exact same time. And I think that was the reason most of us were excited to begin with.
How does that work?
Well, you know what? The first time you see it, you're not going to understand how it works. It's that whole thing in the trailer where it's just like, don't try to understand it, feel it.
Okay, so you just sort of go with it until they explain it later?
Yeah, this is basically Nolan's idea of a dumb action movie, and I think this is the only time anyone can say this is a dumb action movie where you can not get under the crossfire of Nolan fanboys. But here's the thing. The stunts are really well done. Nolan, you know that they're going to be practical sets, no green screens, very little CGI. The only CGI are some environmental aspects of what's moving backwards and forwards, or I'm assuming that it was a CG car that was wrecked and then it flipped over.
Probably.
Unless they found a way to film it in reverse, because the scenes that were inverted were shot forwards and then backwards, and then they spliced them together as best as they can. The stunts were really cool. There's a really good opera house sequence where the action is in the background, but the foreground is building up the mystery and suspense of what the protagonist is like, what his code of conduct is when he's on the job, and who he's really searching to rescue for.
Is he trying to kill someone at the opera house?
No.
Okay, good, because that's Mission Impossible 5.
Yes, it is. And then you got that whole plane sequence that the second time around was actually a lot more fun to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these stunts were a lot more interesting because when I first saw the Opera House siege at the beginning, I thought, is that it really? Because Nolan's more of a fan of gritty fight choreography
Yeah.
as opposed to getting really fantastical and energetic, and that is a little bit of a bummer. But in the context, it does work in those sequences. The inverted fight sequences where he's actually like coming into contact with people, punching and kicking. Some scenes are really good, and some scenes are really not good.
So does it take the Inception level where they're fighting in the air and stuff to the next level, or is it sort of more of the same?
It's not on the same level. It's not on the same level of excitement or creativity.
Okay.
There are moments where they do backflips or they reverse movements, like the sequence where he's scrambling to reach for his gun, but he's moving backwards. That stuff is really cool and it's shot in full. But for some reason in fight sequences, and I ranted about this already, Nolan is a big fan of handheld cam.
Yeah.
Especially when you're filming in 70mm in IMAX, I don't understand why, because the cameras are so damn heavy already.
I guess they have a steady rig, maybe?
Yeah, but he doesn't use them, and I don't understand why. And the thing that really bugged me were the shot choices that he used for the actual hand-to-hand combat sequences. There were a lot of shots where it's just their faces as they're throwing the punches and kicks, which I do not understand. Or over-the-shoulder shots that just look like crap because you can't see where they're getting hit. You can't see their reactions. The opponent is already wearing a helmet, so they already have that part taken care of. But seriously, the best part of Inception was that hallway fight.
That was pretty
because
dope.
we saw everything.
Yeah.
It was in a wide shot. As opposed to the fight choreography before, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is trying to dismantle a gun. It's very handheld, very shaky for no real reason other than it just looks distracting. I get that you're trying to capture it as if it were in the moment, but one, it's a movie. We know what we're watching didn't happen in the moment. And two, have you actually seen fights that were filmed in the moment? They look like crap because they have no idea who to focus on. You're a filmmaker. You have the advantage of knowing where to put the camera.
So, do you think that Mr. Christopher Nolan and Mr. Paul Greengrass are friends?
Very loosely. Not gonna lie, there are fights from
Caine.
Nolan movies that I like more than Greengrass. There are movies from Greengrass that have better fight scenes than Nolan ones. It's very mishmash. Like, there are Jason Bourne movies that I was more excited about and found it easier to follow the fights because Paul Greengrass at least puts close-ups whenever people get hit.
Yes, yes.
So there's that. But
so action's good.
In terms of the actual direction, Nolan does a really good job. There are a lot of helicopter establishing shots of these beautiful locations. He's all over the world. India, Norway, so many other places that I can't really remember because that's the weird thing. For a spy movie, they don't put the locations in the yeah. They don't put the locations in the corner. Like,
well, they don't give you the GPS coordinates. How are you supposed to go there?
They just expect you to know where the they just expect you to know where Oslo is just by mentioning it. I had no idea that Oslo was in Norway.
Did not know that was even a place.
Me neither.
I like when they put location things on it.
The one time you know the location is the Opera House in Ukraine because it says that in English and then it has the Russian inscribed all over it, which was weird. But in terms of the overall direction, the 70mm in IMAX does look incredibly beautiful. There are so many landscape shots that look gorgeous in that gritty fashion that he prefers them to be in.
Yeah.
And the cinematographer, Hoyte van Hoytema, we talked about him in our favorite cinematographers. He does a really good job.
Which one was he?
He's the one who did Interstellar, Dunkirk, Astra.
Yes.
Like, no matter how good or bad the movie is, he makes it look fantastic.
Yeah, those bookshelves never look better.
Yeah, and the directing style that Nolan has, for the most part, is still good. He incorporates a few new things, like, he actually came up with new colors to make symbolic. Like, red and blue contrast with each other very nicely in this film, where blue is supposed to represent the past and red is supposed to resemble the future. At one point, Debicki is, like, layered in nothing but red pantsuit, red skirt. And I'm not gonna lie, the time travel stuff, as confusing as it was easier to follow the second time around.
That makes sense.
For one specific reason. You could actually hear what the characters were saying, because the other thing I ranted about in my Nolan rant, I'm getting really repetitive on this one. I'm just as brilliant.
Go watch his Nolan rant.
Yeah.
The one where time is out of place.
Probably. But the first time around, my sister and I talked about this. The sound design, like the sound effects and the music, was on a scale of 1 to 10 dialed up to 11. But the dialogue was like half.
Yeah, that happens in a lot of movies.
Which I don't understand.
They've been doing it since the 60s. I can't explain it.
Yeah, but like Nolan's been getting crap for that since Interstellar.
It happened in The Sting. It's poorly balanced. The Living Daylights, you name it. GoldenEye wasn't balanced very well.
Yeah,
like,
but
a lot of these movies aren't.
This seems to be a recurring thing for him, because like that happened in Dunkirk. But with Dunkirk, it didn't matter because it was a mainly visually told movie, and characters say very little because their motivations are so simple. Here, the motivations are incredibly complex, and the dialogue and the logistics of just how fucked up the physics and the time travel is on this one, it's already so confusing. The fact that the dialogue is down to here makes it really hard to pay attention. Like, yeah, if you're going to accuse people of not paying attention, you can't, because the dialogue being so low is the reason I was laser focused and I still had no idea what people were saying.
I never really had any problem with Interstellar with the audio. I mean, it was fine for me, but I also watched it with headphones on my couch one night.
I keep hearing like different things about the sound design, because yesterday when I saw it, it felt different. Like, it actually felt clear. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. And I said this in my rant. I defy anyone, if this is a deliberate thing from Interstellar, Dark Knight Rises, Dunkirk, why that's a good thing. Because if he's doing it on purpose, it's kind of a manipulative way to get people to see it again, just to understand it. Like, we're making a movie that is designed to get people back into theaters. And keep in mind, this was a movie designed to get people back in theaters before we had a pandemic.
Picture the meeting. Christopher Nolan's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a movie, and it's not going to be in order, because no one wants to watch a movie in order. All the other movies are in order. You know, we got to be different. And you know what? Everyone can hear when you talk in the other movies. So let's make the music really loud, because we know they're here for Hans Zimmer, and like put the audio there, and maybe they'll see it twice. And then on the internet, some guy will get really angry and swear, and he'll defend on his mother's life that I'm a genius. It's perfect. I'll make all the money.
Not gonna lie, the best stylistic trait about this movie is Ludwig Göransson's score, because it's not Hans Zimmer.
Not Hans Zimmer.
Zimmer was
fix my thing then.
Hans Zimmer was thankfully too busy doing Dune, I think.
Oh, that looks so cool. I saw like the teaser trailer. I'm like, I have no clue what's happening.
I was hoping that would come up on Tenet yesterday, but it didn't.
No.
And Americans were bragging, "Oh, we got the Dune teaser."
There's not a 10-minute featurette on making Dune before this movie?
Not unlike the 10-minute featurette of Tenet before they put out Inception.
I mean, I didn't even know that was on there until you told me. And I was like, I'm the one programming the movie, and I don't know.
But here's the thing, like, the best part, the thing that raises the stakes, the tension, and the suspense, even though you can't follow it, is the musical score.
Oh, okay.
Because it has that synthetic, electronic vibe that Nolan really loves about his movies. The one drawback about it, and my sister pointed this out, I didn't even notice it. I think there are probably 1 or 2 scenes that have no music whatsoever.
That's okay, right?
Well,
you can have film without music. Nothing wrong with that. Depends on the movie.
No, but like 98% of the movie has nothing but background music in the film, which is a little bit distracting from time to time, especially when you're trying to pay laser eye attention to what the characters are saying, trying to understand what the physics of time inversion are. And you know what? For making a movie about getting back into the theater-going experience, reminding us why it's so much better than watching it on our iPad, why would you design the sound so poorly that you would scare people away from theaters? Because not only is it confusing, you're giving them a migraine, because I don't get headaches from movies. My family does, which is why they don't go to the theaters very often, which is understandable. A couple of them have conditions where you can't really avoid it, but it was headache-inducing, and I'm just sitting there going, you're scaring away the audience you're trying to bring back if you're doing this on purpose. If you're not doing this on purpose, and it might have been a pandemic thing editing it together, because I think they actually did hire musicians during quarantine to like record their instrumentals. So that is a very creative and clever way of going about it, but it can still come off as being a little shitty.
So should Nolan make a silent movie?
Well, I mean, some people already think he did with Dunkirk, but I would love to see him do something that was...
Is it good?
That was much more minimal... Wait, you haven't seen Dunkirk?
No, I missed
Really?
Dunkirk. There was so many movies coming out around that. Is it good?
Dunkirk is a really good movie. It's more a war film about the circumstances as opposed to the depth of the characters, and that's what makes them so straightforward. I struggle to remember any of their names. In fact, Cillian Murphy's name in this is Shivering Soldier, because it's told from three perspectives: air, land, and sea.
And then
on
it
the
cuts
sea,
weirdly between them.
yes, the airplane one takes place over the course of a couple hours. The soldiers, it takes place over the course of a week because they're just waiting so anxiously, and as time keeps ticking, they're just sitting ducks. And then the boat one is over the course of a day, as it's like the final hours getting towards the evacuation.
Okay.
Mark Rylance picks up this capsized ship where Cillian Murphy is the only survivor. And he's so shell-shocked that he doesn't want to go back, and he tries to kind of sabotage the mission.
All right.
So there's that. There's this one kid named Theon Whitehead, not Theon Wolfhard or whatever.
Greyjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
I know this. I watched Game of Thrones.
Who is so straightforward. He wants to get on those boats no matter what, that he almost tries to manipulate the situations in his favor, like to get on the boat first. Like, he'll volunteer to pick up a wounded soldier on a stretcher if that means getting on board. But he does also kind of have a moral compass where if there are no ways to cheat his way out and he can't invent them, he's not going to bother and he's just going to resign to his own fate. Stuff like that.
Dunkirk review. Woot woot.
Yeah. And then you have Tom Hardy once again wearing a face mask because
we can't. If we
really
see
stop.
his face, the world will explode.
Yeah, exactly.
We can see his twin, but not his twin, and not his actual face.
Honestly, seeing his twin was very boring.
I mean, Legend was okay. It wasn't like
I gave up less than halfway through. It just, out of all the Goodfellas knockoffs, it felt like one of the laziest, even though it had such a great concept in that of twin gangsters, real life twin gangsters, nonetheless.
So out of 27, what do you give this film?
Okay, so I know I've talked about more flaws than there are pros, but to be honest, there are a lot of really good things about this movie. It is incredibly practical. The action sequences, for the most part, are well done when you can see them. The performances are very good. They try to take a minimalist approach to what these spy characters are like by giving us less information about them to supposedly present more mystery and decide, based on their actions, what they're like as people. I would give more about the characters, but because it is a time travel movie, there are some spoilers revolving around the depth of these characters. There's a side character played by, I hope I got her name right, Dimple Kapadia, who is a Bollywood star. That's
cool.
That's exactly why we
Is it
don't
Bollywood
know.
or Tollywood?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Who's like basically the shady information informant, but she also has a bit of an agenda. So the sequences between Washington and Kapadia are some of the most surprising and some of the more complicated because you have to pay really close attention because she has information about the future that she will hold on to because she's very high up in this organization. And I almost forgot to mention, the bungee jump sequence from the building is also an incredibly well filmed and well choreographed
How many stories
action
is this
sequence.
building? Like 127, 123, 200, 400?
They don't say. They just say that it's too short to parachute down from.
I sort of wanted to know the distance because I was thinking of bungee jumping off of myself.
Yeah, they do analyze the situation where Pattinson's just like, how much do you know about parachuting? Broke my ankle about a week into basic training, and I know that it's too short to parachute down. A bungee cord down would be a little too complicated.
Does he actually talk like that?
He is British, yes.
I thought he was American and only was a werewolf.
No, he claims to have designed his characteristics based on Christopher Hitchens' The Offer, which I find very strange because Christopher Hitchens never smiled, let alone expressed emotions.
Well, that makes sense for Robert Pattinson.
But like the performances are really good. John David Washington is badass as this main spy. Sometimes he's a little emotionless, but overall, like I think it's just to put on this facade that he's very cocky and capable of his abilities as an agent, and he absolutely is capable. But it's one of those things where you have to trust people who are lower than you on the food chain but have more information and make all of these decisions. It really is quintessential Ethan Hunt. But he has his own spin on it, and he brings his own personality towards the character. So yeah, I know it sounds very mixed, but overall, the first viewing of Tenet was okay, but the second viewing was good for basically the exact same reasons. The things that worked about it, the performances, the action sequences and stunts for the most part, the music, the overall style and cinematography really does work. It's just there are so many things about the filmmaking style that doesn't work, and there's so many logistics about the time travel that you're not going to understand even if the sound is dialed up to 12. So definitely see it twice before you come up with an opinion. And for all those reasons, I'm going to give Tenet a 3.5 out of 5.
Fair enough. I haven't seen it, so I can't rate it. But I can tell you, take your family, children, and kids, and turn on your cell phones during the theater. No, just kidding. Don't do that.
No.
Please don't.
In fact, I almost got snippy at this one couple who whispered during the first screening. Because the volume is already so low, I don't need another... The volume is so low, the sound effects and the music are so high, I don't need another thing drowning out the fucking...
You know what they're whispering? What are they saying? I don't know, I can't hear over your whispering.
It's like that Ellen DeGeneres routine where you're at the movie theater. Why did she do that? Is she mad at her? I don't know. Let's watch and we'll find out together, shall we?
Oh, man. Be nice to your movie theaters.
When it says phones off, when it says let the actors do the talking, fucking listen.
I've been thinking of carrying a hammer and anyone who turns on their phone just smashing the screen and walking away. No questions asked. Just...
Be like that guy at Landmark who, for pepper spray at the screen and then walked away. Yeah, that did happen.
Oh my goodness.
I can't remember what movie it was for, but yeah.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Well, anyways, guys, overall, do go see Tenet. Just know what you're getting yourself into. Do not be a dickhead if you understand it more than some people. We can't all be smart, no matter how hard we try.
I'm not going to see it, because you're going to tell me I'm stupid.
Yeah. So, Nolan fanboys, fuck off. Well, Josh, thank you for finally coming to visit my channel.
I should watch the movie next time.
Yeah, you probably should. But
if I watch the movie, I can review it with you. That's a wild idea.
We've done videos together. We have not done movies together.
Yeah.
Which we really need to do at some point.
We should see a movie or something.
We should talk about this after we're done recording. But yeah, I've done all of my product placements on your channel. It is your turn to do the exact same.
What days does this come out?
Tomorrow, Friday.
Tomorrow, Saturday, check out Really Bad TV, Wrong Target, starring Chance and Eric. Two guys who get the wrong target, comedic weirdness, classic Josh vibes, script and stuff. Link in the description?
Yeah,
yes.
Definitely do.
So yeah, it'll be Really Bad TV episode 147, Worthless Target. That's going to be the new episode. And look for both our episodes Saturday. Recasting Spaceballs in 2010s. We have some surprising predictions. One may include Adele. And also Saturday.
I still can't believe you did that, but keep going.
Yes. Don't be a Vespa, don't be a Karen. That's what we've learned.
Fuck you.
And check out Sunday's conversation, tops 6 under movies we haven't seen that we should see or we want to see. And don't get mad at us because you can't watch every movie either. So, yeah, things. Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, do check out Josh's channel, Sharp Edge Cinematics. He does these very interesting comedic sketches. He also does some react videos that he just plugged where he reacts to his own creations with friends of his. It's very awesome.
They're from 10 years ago.
Yes.
They suck.
Definitely check it out. It if you can watch The Room, you can watch his stuff.
We're better than The Room.
Yeah.
We put Cloudy the Chance of Meatballs to shame.
Either ways, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have seen Tenet, if you agree or disagree, just let us know down below. You're giving us free attention. We salute you for it.
I will care what you have to say because I haven't seen the movie.
Be sure to stay tuned for more reviews and more podcast episodes where I will be guest appearing on his channel. Feel free to check it out. And be sure to like and subscribe. And we are going to wait until this is a half hour, and then we will leave.
So, we've got 20 seconds to kill.
Yeah.
What can you tell me in 20 seconds about your favorite type of water?
The kind that has gone through the waterworks.
I like the wet kind of water.
Yeah, same.
I like it when it's clear, you know, when it's all foggy. I'm not a big fan. Say something awesome!
Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.
I'm a ridiculous human being.